A single dad raised twins alone for 6 years after their mom abandoned them for drugs. Now she's back, clean and sober, standing on his doorstep asking one heartbreaking question. Can I still belong? What happens next will redefine what family really means. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. David Martinez was in the middle of helping 6-year-old Emma with her math homework when the doorbell rang. Lucas, Emma's twin brother, was sprawled on the living room floor building a castle with his blocks. It was their usual Tuesday evening routine: homework, dinner, bath time, and bedtime stories. "Daddy, someone's at the door," Lucas called out, not looking up from his architectural masterpiece. "I know, buddy. Keep building. I'll be right back." David ruffled his son's dark hair as he passed by. David wasn't expecting anyone. His neighbor Mrs. Patterson sometimes stopped by with cookies, and occasionally the mailman had a package that needed signing. But when he opened the door, his world stopped spinning. Standing on his front porch was Rebecca Chin, the woman who had given birth to his children and then disappeared from their lives when the twins were barely 6 months old. She looked different. Older, of course, but also healthier. Her hair was longer than he remembered, pulled back in a neat ponytail. She wore a simple blue dress and carried a small purse clutched tightly in her hands. But it was her eyes that shocked him the most. They were clear, focused, present in a way they hadn't been for months before she left. "Hello, David," she said quietly. David gripped the doorframe, his knuckles turning white. For 6 years he had imagined this moment. He had rehearsed what he would say, how angry he would be, how he would protect his children from the woman who had abandoned them. But now, faced with Rebecca standing in front of him, all he could manage was one word. "Why?" Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. "Because I'm better now. Because I've been clean for 4 years. Because not a day goes by that I don't think about them, about all of you." "Daddy?" Emma's voice came from behind him. "Who is it?" David felt panic rise in his chest. The twins had no memory of their mother. How could they? Rebecca had left when they were tiny babies, struggling with addiction and unable to cope with motherhood. David had raised them alone, with the help of his parents and Rebecca's parents, who had been heartbroken when their daughter chose drugs over her family. Just give me a minute, sweetheart," David called back, not taking his eyes off Rebecca. "David, please. I know I have no right to be here. I know I gave up any claim to them when I left. But I'm different now. I'm healthy. I'm stable. I have a job, an apartment. I've been going to meetings every day for 4 years." "4 years?" David repeated. "They're 6 years old, Rebecca. You've been clean for 4 years, which means you chose drugs over your children for 2 years after you left us." Rebecca flinched like he had slapped her. I know how this looks. I know what I did was unforgivable. But David, I was sick. Really sick. I couldn't take care of them when I couldn't even take care of myself. So you just left. You walked out without a word. Do you know what that did to me? Do you know how many nights I stayed awake wondering if you were alive or dead?" "I'm sorry," Rebecca whispered, tears streaming down her face now. "I'm so sorry. But I had to get clean first. I had to become someone who could be a good mother before I could even think about coming back." David heard footsteps behind him and knew both twins were now listening from the hallway. He needed to handle this carefully. Whatever anger he felt toward Rebecca, he couldn't let it traumatize his children. "Kids," he said, turning slightly but keeping his body between them and Rebecca. "Go to your room for a few minutes, okay? I need to talk to this lady." "But Daddy," Lucas protested. "I want to finish my castle." "You can finish it after dinner. Go on, both of you." Emma, always the more perceptive twin, studied her father's face with concern. "Are you okay, Daddy?" "I'm fine, baby girl. Just go upstairs for a minute." The twins reluctantly headed upstairs, and David could hear their whispered conversation as they went. They were smart kids and they knew something important was happening. David stepped outside and closed the door behind him, not wanting the twins to accidentally overhear. "Rebecca, I don't know what you expect from me. Do you want me to just pretend the last 6 years didn't happen? Do you want me to explain to my children that their mother, who they think is dead, is actually alive and decided to show up on a Tuesday evening? They think I'm dead?" Rebecca's face went pale. What was I supposed to tell them? That their mother loved drugs more than she loved them? That she chose getting high over being their mom? Rebecca sank down onto the porch steps, burying her face in her hands. "God, what have I done? What have I done to them?" Despite his anger, David felt a flicker of the compassion that had once made him fall in love with this woman. Before the addiction took over, Rebecca had been kind, funny, full of dreams for their future together. The drugs had stolen all of that, leaving behind someone he didn't recognize. David, Rebecca said, looking up at him with red-rimmed eyes. I know I can't undo what I did. I know I can't get back the years I lost. But I'm asking. I'm begging. Can I try to be part of their lives now? Even just a little bit? It's not that simple, Rebecca. They don't know you. You're a stranger to them. Then let me not be a stranger. Let me get to know them. Let them get to know me. Rebecca stood up, hope flickering in her eyes. I'm not asking to jump back into being their full-time mother. I know I lost that right. But maybe I could start as a friend? Maybe we could see if there's a place for me in their lives. David ran his hands through his hair, feeling overwhelmed. This isn't just about what you want, Rebecca. I have to think about what's best for Emma and Lucas. They have a stable life. They're happy. I can't just disrupt that because you've decided you're ready to be a mother. I understand that. But David, don't they deserve to know their mother? Don't they deserve the chance to have both parents in their lives? Before David could answer, the front door opened and Lucas poked his head out. Daddy, Emma says we should come out because you look sad and maybe we can help. David's heart clenched. His children were so caring, so intuitive. They had learned to take care of each other and him because for most of their lives, it had just been the three of them against the world. Emma appeared beside her brother, taking in the scene, her father looking stressed, a strange woman sitting on their porch steps crying. Are you okay, lady? Emma asked Rebecca with the innocent concern of a 6-year-old. Rebecca looked up at Emma and David saw her breath catch. Emma had Rebecca's eyes, the same warm brown color, the same long lashes. Lucas had inherited David's darker features, but Emma was almost a miniature version of her mother. I'm okay, sweetheart, Rebecca said softly. I'm just having a hard day. Sometimes we have hard days too, Lucas said, moving to stand next to his sister. Daddy says that's normal and it's okay to feel sad sometimes. Your daddy sounds very wise, Rebecca said, her voice thick with emotion. Emma studied Rebecca's face with the intensity that David recognized as purely his daughter's trait. You look like me, she said finally. Rebecca smiled through her tears. You're very observant. Daddy says I get that from him, but I think I got it from someone else too, Emma said matter-of-factly. David realized his daughter was putting pieces together that he wasn't ready for her to understand yet. Kids, why don't you go back inside? I need to finish talking to this lady. What's your name? Lucas asked Rebecca, ignoring his father's request. Rebecca looked at David, asking permission with her eyes. David felt trapped. He could lie, but his children would see right through it. He could tell the truth, but he wasn't prepared for the questions that would follow. My name is Rebecca, she said carefully. That's a pretty name, Emma said. I'm Emma, and this is my brother Lucas. We're twins. I can see that. You're both very beautiful children. Thank you, Emma said politely. Are you a friend of Daddy's? Rebecca looked at David again and he saw the pain in her eyes. She wanted so badly to say she was their mother, but she was leaving the decision to him. Rebecca is someone I used to know a long time ago, David said finally. Before we were born? Lucas asked. Yes, before you were born. Emma, with her scary 6-year-old intuition, asked the question David had been dreading. Are you our mom? The silence stretched between them like a canyon. Rebecca's eyes filled with fresh tears, and David felt like the world was spinning too fast. Emma, David started, but Rebecca held up her hand. Yes, Rebecca said quietly. I am your mother. But I've been away for a very long time. Where were you? Lucas asked with typical child directness. I was sick. Very sick. And I had to go away to get better. Are you better now? Emma asked. Yes, sweetheart. I'm much better now. Emma considered this information with the seriousness of a judge. Daddy said our mom was in heaven. Are you in heaven? Rebecca looked at David with confusion and hurt. No, baby. I'm not in heaven. I'm right here. David knelt down to his children's level. Kids, this is very complicated. Can we go inside and talk about this together? For the next hour, David found himself in the most difficult conversation of his life. He tried to explain in terms 6-year-olds could understand, why their mother had been gone, why he had told them she was dead, and what it meant that she was here now. The twins listened with the resilience that had always amazed David. They asked questions that were sometimes heartbreaking in their innocence and sometimes wise beyond their years. So you didn't die, you just went away? Lucas asked Rebecca. Yes. I went away because I was sick, and I couldn't take care of you the way you deserve to be taken care of. But Daddy took care of us, Emma said proudly. Yes, he did. Your daddy is a wonderful father. He did everything for you that I should have done. Why didn't you just get better faster? Lucas asked. Rebecca smiled sadly. Sometimes being sick takes a very long time to get better from. It took me much longer than I wanted it to. Are you going to go away again? Emma asked, and David could hear the worry in her voice. I don't want to go away again. But that's not just up to me. It's up to your daddy and it's up to you too. David watched his children process this information. He had expected tears, confusion, maybe anger. Instead, Emma climbed down from her chair and walked over to Rebecca. Can I hug you? She asked. Rebecca burst into tears and opened her arms. Emma hugged her tight, and after a moment Lucas joined them. David felt his own eyes fill with tears as he watched his children embrace the mother they had never known but somehow recognized. That night, after Rebecca had left with promises to return the next day, David lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The twins had fallen asleep quickly, exhausted by the emotional day, but David's mind was racing. Emma and Lucas had accepted Rebecca's return with the adaptability of children, but David knew the real challenges were just beginning. How do you rebuild a family that was broken before it ever really had a chance to form? How do you trust someone who had abandoned you at your most vulnerable moment? The next few weeks were a careful dance of gradual introduction. Rebecca came by for short visits, always when David was home, always with clear boundaries. She read bedtime stories, helped with homework, and slowly began to learn who her children had become. David watched her with a mixture of hope and fear. This Rebecca was different from the woman he remembered. She was patient with the twins, gentle, present in a way she never had been before. But he couldn't forget the months of chaos before she left, the nights he'd stayed awake with crying babies while she was passed out, the mornings he'd found drug paraphernalia hidden around the house. How do I know you won't leave again? He asked her one evening after the twins had gone to bed. You don't, Rebecca said honestly. I can't guarantee that, David. What I can tell you is that I go to meetings every day. I have a sponsor. I have a support system. I know what my triggers are and I know how to handle them. But you're right, there are no guarantees. That's not good enough, David said. I can't put Emma and Lucas through losing you again. Then what do you want from me? What would it take for you to trust me? David thought about it for a long moment. Time. Consistency. I need to see that you're going to be here not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. When Emma has a nightmare, when Lucas is throwing a tantrum, when the dishwasher breaks and there's water all over the kitchen floor. Then let me be here for those things. Rebecca, we're not getting back together. I need you to understand that. Even if I learn to trust you with the kids, you and I, what we had is gone. Rebecca nodded, though David could see the pain in her eyes. I know. I'm not asking for us to be a couple again. I'm asking for the chance to be their mother. 3 months later, Rebecca had become a regular part of their routine. She picked the twins up from school twice a week, helped with homework and had dinner with them every Sunday. She had been there when Lucas broke his arm at the playground, sitting in the emergency room and holding Emma while David held Lucas. She had been there when Emma got sick with the flu, bringing soup and sitting up with her through the night. Slowly, carefully, David began to trust her again. One evening, as they sat on the front porch watching the twins play in the yard, Rebecca asked the question that had been hanging between them for months. David, do you think I can still belong here? With them? With this family? David watched Emma and Lucas chasing fireflies in the growing dusk. They were laughing, carefree, secure in the knowledge that both their parents were there watching over them. I think, David said slowly, that family isn't just about biology. It's not even just about being there from the beginning. It's about choosing to love someone every day even when it's hard. It's about showing up, being present, putting their needs before your own. Rebecca waited, holding her breath. You can't undo the years you missed, David continued. But you're here now. You're choosing them now. Every day you're showing up and proving that you want to be their mother. So that's a yes? Rebecca asked, hope creeping into her voice. David looked at her, really looked at her. He saw the woman who had gotten up at 2 a.m. to drive Lucas to the hospital. He saw the mother who had spent hours teaching Emma to ride a bike. He saw someone who was fighting every day to be worthy of the children she had once failed. Yes, he said finally. I think you can still belong. It's different than it would have been if you'd never left, but, yes, you belong here. Rebecca started crying then, tears of relief and gratitude and overwhelming love for the children who had somehow found it in their hearts to forgive her. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for giving me this chance. Don't thank me, David said. Thank them. They're the ones who decided you were worth loving. As if they had heard him, Emma and Lucas came running over, breathless from their game of chase. "Mom, did you see me catch that firefly?" Lucas asked, and David's heart stopped. It was the first time either twin had called Rebecca Mom without prompting. Rebecca knelt down to Lucas's level, fresh tears streaming down her face. "I saw, sweetheart. You were amazing. Can you help us catch more?" Emma asked. "Daddy's too slow." David laughed, the tension of months finally breaking. "Hey, I'm not that slow." "You're pretty slow, Daddy," Emma said with a grin. Rebecca looked at David, asking permission with her eyes. David nodded, and she stood up, taking each twin by the hand. "Come on," she said. "Let's show Daddy how it's done." David watched his family, and it was his family now, complicated and unconventional but real, run around the yard together. Rebecca belonged here not because she had given birth to the twins, but because she had chosen to fight her way back to them. She belonged because love wasn't just about being there from the beginning, but about being willing to do whatever it took to be there for all the moments that mattered. Sometimes families break apart. Sometimes people make mistakes so big that it seems impossible to come back from them. But sometimes, with enough love, enough work, and enough forgiveness, broken families can heal. They might not look the same as they did before, but they can be whole again. As David watched Rebecca spin Emma around while Lucas chased more fireflies, he realized that belonging wasn't something you earned once and kept forever. It was something you chose every day, something you worked for, something you proved through actions rather than words. Rebecca had asked if she could still belong, and the answer was yes. But more importantly, she had shown that she was willing to earn that belonging every single day for the rest of her life. And that, David thought, was what family was really about.